After a disappointing beginning to last season, what would have been his original rookie season, Chet Holmgren hurt his foot, unfortunately, as we all know, with a Lisfranc injury, and we know it was after defending Braun in a Summer League Pro-Am that happened in the crossover Pro-Am hosted by Jamal Crawford last year. After 10 months of rehab, Chet has finally returned to the court, playing just 2 games in the Salt Lake City Summer League and 2 more in the Las Vegas Summer League thus far, and during that span, Chet has averaged nearly a double-double and adding almost 4 blocks per game during that span. Of course, we've seen a little bit of rust with regard to his shooting, his 3-point shooting most notably, where he shot 1 for 11, and he's had 15 turnovers in the game he's played. But besides his stubbly beard and besides a little bit of size on Chet Holmgren, what have we seen from him so far throughout this rehab process and his development over this year of technically being off from basketball? I've always been huge on Chet Holmgren. I think he's a great player and he's a great guy for the OKC going forward, especially when it comes to their foundation and building a winning team, and I think he's going to be integral to that with SGA to boot next to him. Now, before we get into this video, I am on the road to 1,000 subs. As soon as I hit 1,000 subs, we will be doing a giveaway for a PlayStation 5, so if you know anyone who has not gotten a PS5 yet, go ahead and subscribe and maybe you could win it for them. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're new, and let's get into the video. Like I said, we've seen some areas of Chet Holmgren and some ways where we're reassured with the fact that he's a player that's going to be good for the OKC Thunder going forward. The biggest part to this is, what is Chet Holmgren's presence going to mean to OKC, adding to a team with a rising group that went 40-42 last season and was a play-in team last year that had a couple of young guys that stepped up a lot more than a lot of us common ball watchers realized. There were guys like J-Dub who turned up immensely. No one really saw him coming. There was the other Jalen Williams that was an integral piece for this team and playing in a position that isn't his normal position. Josh Giddey playing extremely well. And now you get Chet Holmgren back fully healthy with a year of some type of NBA experience under his belt. Not really much on the court, but there's some experience to be had there, especially when it comes to developing with the assistant coaches that you have around. Over the course of the summer, Chet had success getting from behind the 3-point line to the rim off the dribble before he got injured. Something few centers are comfortable with doing, so I think that's something that's highlighted and should be good going forward. I remember a move he did against the Jazz in the first opening Summer League game where he up-faked a defender, I believe it was Micah Potter, and he drove past him, finishing it with a smooth left-hand layup. And Chet has always been very smooth with the ball in his hands, and something we saw with Victor Wembanyama in the first game, he kind of had some issue with handling the ball because of the fact that the defenders, they were quick to pick up on his dribble, and of course 7'4" is a very high length that the ball has to travel when you dribble. We normally see that in taller guys of this stature, and Chet Holmgren isn't one of those guys that we saw that in. I also like the play where Chet caught the ball on the left wing above the 3-point line against Dallas when they were in Vegas, and he decoyed the dribble handoff, and it pretty much got Holmgren into a place in the paint where he was able to finish off balance against the contest. Now, the key for Chet going forward to me is avoiding crowds of defenders who can take advantage of how high his dribble is. Of course, this is something Victor Wembanyama is going to have to deal with, but Chet is going to have to deal with it, I think, a little bit more because he's going to be looked to be putting the ball on the ground a lot more than Wemby is, at least for this upcoming season. Chet's even said this himself. He recognized that he had to understand to get off of the ball and play action on the opposite side just to figure out how to get open. And if Chet can figure this out early, it'll mean all the difference for him in this OKC team, a team that has a guy in SGA who is close to a 30-point scorer per game. Now, I know I mentioned that shooting slump earlier, but we all know Chet Holmgren is a pretty good shooter. Now, for Chet to maximize his ability to drive against hard closeout, he must keep defenders honest with this shooting. He's gonna have to make sure he doesn't fall into crazy slumps. That was the biggest negative from Holmgren's first summer to this one this second. Now, after making 4 3-pointers in the opening game in Salt Lake City and finishing with 8 in 5 games. Holmgren, he's shown he can hit behind the arc, and I think he became a true threat to where players are really closing him out very hard, even in the summer league. Now, as a hooper, I feel like when you come off an injury, especially a foot injury, long range shooting takes a little bit to come back because, as we all know, you're rusty when it comes to your shooting, especially if you haven't been shooting the ball for months. And the fact that Holmgren came back and his shooting was at this level, it means all the world, again, especially for an OKC team that has pieces that aren't looking to Chet to be the #1 guy immediately. He can actually play a support role, and in that support role, he could do very well because he could shoot very well, put the ball on the floor, and create for others using his own scoring ability. Now, in particular, I'd like to see Chet focus on getting the base of his shot back to where it was a few years ago. Watching him shoot beyond the arc, it looks a little bit less balanced, and I'm gonna be honest, it looks like he doesn't have as much get off on the shot, if that makes sense. Now, fortunately for the Thunder, they have one of the best shooting coaches on their side with assistant coach Chip Egerland. I'm sorry if I said that wrong, but he should help Chet dial things back and get back to where he was. Now, Holmgren will have the rest of the summer in the gym to work on getting back to where he was coming out of Gonzaga, where he shot almost 40% from the NCAA 3-point line, which it is shorter, but that's still a very good base point for NBA shooting. The combination of both shooting and passing is going to allow Chet to play power forward at times for OKC, but it'll also make the OKC offense especially dangerous when they go 5 out with him at center. And last year, that was a role that Poku filled more than anything. And with Chet, he offers a dramatic defensive upgrade over Poku. Another place that Chet is gonna really fill out for in terms of this OKC team is the rebounding. The biggest area of statistical improvement for Holmgren from last summer to this summer, it was on the glass. He recorded a pair of double-doubles in just 4 games and fell 1 rebound shy in the other 2. And he's averaging exactly 9.8 rebounds per game in the summer league, up from 8.4 just a year ago. Now, at times, I will say Chet has benefited a little bit from playing with Jalen Williams, where Jalen Williams, he started 36 games in Holmgren's absence, so of course he got some NBA minutes under his belts, and he's among players who saw at least 500 minutes last season, so he is a guy that understands how to get rebounds, and he's been a great rebounder for OKC, so that does benefit Chet going forward. But beyond that, while Chet remains one of the smallest players in the league, he has evidently added strength over the past year. People have made fun of it, but you could see he's added some size to him, and that helped him maintain an inside rebounding position against bigger opponents like Kenny Lofton and Derek Lively, who he held his own against in their summer league games. Now, the ability for Holmgren to control the glass is going to be particularly important for the Thunder. OKC was ranked 29th in the NBA in defensive rebound percentage last season, while frequently playing 4-guy lineups with Lou Dort and Rookie of the Year runner-up J-Dub. Now, rebounding was by far the biggest weakness on this team, which was an average defensive team as it was anyway. But no matter how long Chet has been out, there's never any question about OKC's upgrade in rim protection when he's on the floor. He's blocked 14 shots in 4 games, slightly surpassing his last year's summer average with 2.8 blocks per game. This is something that was very hard for OKC going forward. They were a very weak defensive team. I won't say very weak, I'd say more average. They were almost last in the league in rebounding. So you put Chet on the floor, that helps this team already, and I'm a firm believer that strong rebounding and strong defense is a driver to winning basketball. And for a team that was just barely in the play-in, this could boost their wins by 10, maybe even 15, and if they get lucky on some nights, because on the offensive end, they've already got it down pat with SGA, J-Dub, Josh Giddey, and now you're adding Chet Holmgren to the fold on the offensive end as well too. So I wouldn't be surprised if you see OKC as one of these top 6 teams outside of the play-in. I don't see them quite doing much yet, but I do think they're gonna be able to leverage their picks one of these summers to get a superstar, and then it's gonna form out this foundation, this roster that they have, and OKC is gonna be one of the next great dynasties going forward, so long as Sam Presti can continue to do his job as well as he has. And I'm gonna be honest, Sam Presti is one of the best in the league at it, so I don't doubt his ability to get the job done, and seeing OKC as one of the next great dynasties in the next 5 to 10 years. But for now, Chet Holmgren has shown a lot of progression, a lot of development, and a lot of upside for OKC, and he's the missing piece that they already had, but in this real rookie year, so to speak, that Chet has, he's going to be a true rookie of the year candidate, and he's going to be a guy that really helps OKC turn the corner, because a lot of where his strengths are is where this team's weaknesses lied last year. But that's all I got for you guys in this video. Let me know what you guys think about Chet Holmgren and his return to OKC Thunder. If you've been watching the Summer League, let's talk about some of that, because I do have some Summer League videos coming out. I just want to take some time to evaluate some of these players a little bit deeper. But for now, like, comment, and subscribe if you're new or if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube, and I'm out. Peace.